I have never met a man so ignorant that I couldn't learn something from him. We cannot teach people anything. We can only help them discover it within themselves. Mathematics is the language with which God has written the universe. With regard to matters requiring thought, the less people know and understand about them, the more positively they attempt to argue concerning them. It is a beautiful and delightful sight to behold the body of the moon. All truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them. Surely, God could have caused birds to fly with their bones made of solid gold, with their veins full of quicksilver, with their flesh heavier than lead, and with their wings exceedingly small. He did not, and that ought to show something. It is only in order to shield your ignorance that you put the Lord at every turn to the refuge of a miracle. If I were again beginning my studies, I would follow the advice of Plato and start with mathematics. Measure what is measurable, and make measurable what is not so. The sun, with all those planets revolving around it and dependent on it, can still ripen a bunch of grapes as if it had nothing else in the universe to do. In questions of science, the authority of 1,000 is not worth the humble reasoning of a single individual. You cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him find it within himself. It vexes me when they would constrain science by the authority of the Scriptures, and yet do not consider themselves bound to answer reason and experiment. Long experience has taught me this about the status of mankind with regard to matters requiring thought. The less people know and understand about them, the more positively they attempt to argue concerning them, while on the other hand to know and understand a multitude of things renders men cautious in passing judgment upon anything new. Infinities and indivisibles transcend our finite understanding, the former on account of their magnitude, the latter because of their smallness. Imagine what they are when combined. Philosophy is written in that great book whichever is before I mean the universe, but we cannot understand it if we do not first learn the language and grasp the symbols in which it is written. The book is written in mathematical language, and the symbols are triangles, circles, and other geometrical figures, without whose help it is impossible to comprehend a single word of it, without which one wanders in vain through a dark labyrinth. I've loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night. To command their professors of astronomy to refute their own observations is to command them not to see what they do see and not to understand what they do understand. I do not think it is necessary to believe that the same God who has given us our senses, reason, and intelligence wished us to abandon their use, giving us by some other means the information that we could gain through them. I do not feel obliged to believe that the same God who has endowed us with sense, reason, and intellect has intended us to forego their use. Wine is sunlight, held together by water. There are those who reason well, but they are greatly outnumbered by those who reason badly. The surface of the moon is not smooth, uniform, and precisely spherical as a great number of philosophers believe it to be, but is uneven, rough, and full of cavities and prominences, being not unlike the face of the earth, relieved by chains of mountains and deep valleys. In my studies of astronomy and philosophy I hold this opinion about the universe, that the sun remains fixed in the center of the circle of heavenly bodies, without changing its place, and the earth, turning upon itself, moves round the sun. Where the senses fail us, reason must step in. By denying scientific principles, one may maintain any paradox. Facts which at first seem improbable will, even on scant explanation, drop the cloak which has hidden them and stand forth in naked and simple beauty. The Milky Way is nothing else but a mass of innumerable stars planted together in clusters. If you could see the earth illuminated when you were in a place as dark as night, it would look to you more splendid than